Welcome to Ask the Tech Coach, brought to you by the TeacherCast Educational Network. If you are in charge of professional development and looking to build an innovative digital learning experience, this is the podcast for you. Join us each week as we uncover strategies that tech coaches are using to drive their digital transformations one classroom at a time. And now for your host, with over 2 decades of experience working with tech coaches and ed tech companies from all around the world, Jeff Bradbury.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. This is Ask the Tech Coach podcast, episode number 107. I think, Sue, it's officially okay to say welcome to a brand new school year. I know you've been in school the last couple weeks. My school just got started up. Sue, how are you today?
I'm great. Yes, all you northern people are finally coming on board and joining us in the school year. Welcome aboard. I know you're having a PD going on and we're still plugging along. How's PD going already in your district?
You know, PD is wonderful. We took an extra couple days. Our kids started on today, actually, September 8th. And, you know, it was fun getting in. It wasn't the easiest route, getting everybody into the buildings, getting people comfortable, faculty meetings at a distance, right? There was a lot of different things for us to get used to. Teachers moving rooms. The buzz was alive with the sound of COVID. I got to tell you, though, everybody was talking about that little elephant in the room. You know, maybe
yes.
I'm going to try not to bring this up at the beginning of every show, but I got to ask, how is your district doing, coping, working with? Have you had any scares? Tell us a little bit about what's going on with you.
We're plugging along and doing well. We've been in since August the 19th was our first day of school for our 3 Kentucky campuses, and then our Indiana campuses have been in well over a month now. So we're plugging along, doing well, and
what do you
following the precautions, and so far so good.
What do you see right now, right? Because this is what we've been talking about in our tech coach meetings in my district, right? The expectations, right? How are you seeing? I want to ask the question, are you seeing teaching and learning happening? But I mean, like, how are you, what are the expectations, right? Like, how are you defining what is happening in the classroom in this first month? Is it any different than when we saw in February?
Oh, yes. And actually, right now that we're almost a couple of weeks in, a lot of easing of the mind. And I'm sure your district, as you begin the first day, your teachers are having those same overwhelming, oh my gosh, how am I going to sanitize these desks? How am I going to sanitize these Chromebooks and get it all done and still get instructional content in? And our teachers 2 weeks ago were going through those same feelings. And yes, there is teaching and learning going on. Mine seem to be at ease. We, just like with anything new, you get in a groove and you figure it out. So just for those of you who haven't started out there, tech coaches, teachers, believe me, it'll smooth out. There's still hope. Yes, still be safe, still be cautious. You know, do what you have to do, but you'll get in a groove. It'll happen.
Remind us here, your teacher has physical students, virtual students, hybrid where are you guys again?
We have physical students face-to-face, and then we do have students online who chose the virtual option. So we have middle school and high school are synchronous with the face-to-face students at the same time, and our elementary are virtual with a separate teacher just teaching them online.
Now, we are trying to figure things out, right? And I
Yes.
feel just like it was that first day of March again, where you're like, oh, what do we do? And I know there's a lot of teachers out there in that position. Again, for us today was that first day of kids, right? Mm-hmm. You see a lot of teachers going, well, there's walls, there's kids, I'm going to go teach. And then you realize that half of your class is on the computer screen and they want to use their 24-foot white chalkboard thing.
Yes.
Right?
We're definitely going through those growing pains too.
You can't right? You can't just do that. We're going to do some shows on this. We want to help you bring your tech coaching expertise into all of that stuff. But we would love to hear from you guys. Like what are you seeing in your classrooms? Please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you guys on Twitter at Ask the Tech Coach. You can, of course, still join our brand new TeacherCast Tech Coaches Network by going over to teachercast.net/TCN form and filling out our little membership application. It is all free. It is all great PD for you. And
how many do we have with us there, Jeff?
Oh, billion, a couple hundred actually. We're doing really, really well.
That's awesome.
Teachercast.net/TCN form. Everything is over on our show notes under Ask the Tech Coach episode number 107. But Sue, today we're going to be talking to the tech coaches out there about organization. How, with all of the changes going on, are we keeping ourselves organized? How are we helping our teachers stay organized? I got to tell you, this is that time where I do take a couple hours and I start to organize my Google Drive. I put stuff in an archive folder. I delete things. I go back and I unstar a bunch of stuff. I delete, one of my favorite PDs to do is called Stop, Drop, and Get Organized. So I go through and do a search for the word untitled, and I delete everything.
Yes, absolutely.
All that stuff. We're not going to talk about that today. You guys can check out that Stop, Drop, and Get Organized course over at teachercast.net. But I got to ask you, are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling organized? Did you organize your Google Drive? How are you feeling at the beginning of this year?
Well, and I may be an exception to the rule. I'm one of those people who tries to stay organized as I go. And, someone else may not think I look very organized, but to me, I am. So I try to keep my drive organized as I go with color-coded folders and folders, bottom line. But one thing I do at the beginning of every year, not only is I like getting rid of the untitled stuff, I like to go through my calendar and put all of the dates that I know are coming. That's one big thing I spend an hour or so doing, is just getting all of the school calendar dates, all those days off, get those organized. And then I just make sure I'm a color coding girl.
How do you do that? Right? I know some people say science is green, math is red. Is it Hansel and Gretel or Alice in Wonder? I think it's Hansel and Gretel. I do that method where if I want to find something inside of a folder, I will actually do a color code to that specific file. So I'll go like green, 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 and then I finally see what I'm looking for. How do you use colors? On my calendar I have 4 campuses that I deal with. So each campus has a color on my calendar, and then some of those folders in my Google Drive correspond with those same colors. And then other meetings on my calendar, whether it's with my boss or my team or professional learning community, whatever, I have various colors to represent those, and they're just kind of all in my head. I know what they mean. And again, in my Google Drive, I have tried to color code to have them mean the same thing. So just kind of, for me as a tech coach, dealing with my different campuses and different types of meetings that I have to attend. Today we're going to be talking all about organization, how we do things. We want to hear how you guys are organizing out there, what your favorite apps are. And, I don't think it's a secret. Google Drive and OneDrive, I'll put all these together, these online hard drives. I think those are fantastic. I think we all need to come up with 2 things as tech coaches. Number one, we need to come up with our own logical way of thinking about things. We have to come up with our own organizational structure. And then the hard one, Sue, we have to come up with a way to teach that to somebody else.
Exactly.
When I do the Stop, Drop, and Get Organized, I show off basic Google functions. Like when you open up my drive, I should see 2 folders, one for business, one for pleasure. When you get into the school districts, right? Like when you get into the school districts one, then that breaks off into 3 folders for each of the buildings. Then in there it breaks. So that way you're not just hit over the top of the head with a million folders. Everything has a place.
Yes.
We all know that you really don't need to do that because search is everywhere. But, the way I kind of put things together and then I explain them to other people, they kind of go, oh, and then they kind of go, let's do that together. And I love it.
And who likes looking at it and seeing all that clutter on there?
Exactly.
I need a folder.
How do you teach organization?
Well, and that's actually a training, much like your Stop, Drop, and Get Organized one. I've had a organizing Google Drive training for several years. I've done at conferences and locally. But yeah, I just kind of go through it. I use my own Google Drive as an example. I know a lot of people use kind of a fake one, but I try to use my own as an example, trying to be the example. And, I start basic. Here's how to make a folder, and then here's how to color code it. Just start from any. I even make I preface it at the beginning by saying, some of you already know how to do this, but we're going to start basic for everyone to have a consistent understanding of what we're meaning to stay organized.
Now, when we're looking at this, obviously, it's not just about trying to figure out the drives, the OneDrive, the Google Drives. I'm a big fan of Google Keep. Right? I keep my notes there. I love the fact that it can help out with images. Yes. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, you can always right-click in a Google Doc on an image, and then it says Save to Keep. And then, you can grab that. There's a lot of great things. Are you a Google Keep girl?
I am. A lot of those notes that I need as a tech coach, I'm at one school or the other, and I just need to know, we have a new student here, and he needs access because he's a student at this campus. He needs access to this, and this digital textbook. So I have that. I can add him in, give him what he needs, and move on. And just for the simple fact of taking a quick picture of, this person's Chromebook is not doing what it needs to do, I can take a picture of that serial number, put it in Google Keep, and have it ready to show my tech support people when I get back to another spot.
I love
and again, they're color coded.
They're color coded, of course. Go back. Sorry. Say that one more time, Sue.
They're color coded. And really on my Google Keep notes, I don't necessarily make them consistent with my other color coding, but it makes it pretty.
One of the things that we've talked about over the summertime is Wakelet. Using Wakelet to curate everything that's going on. Have you gotten onto the Wakelet wave since we did our podcast a few weeks ago?
Yes. I'm a proud Wakelet ambassador. So I've done some sessions and taught some of my teachers about Wakelet and some of our Kentucky folks. And I use it just to keep organized with categorized stuff. I have a whole Wakelet collection of templates. I have a Wakelet collection of podcasts I like. And as I get new podcasts I start listening to, I add them there just for sharing and being able to quickly give that to teachers. I have a whole Wakelet full of graphic organizers. So that type of stuff that I would share with teachers, I can quickly get that Wakelet link and share it with them very easily.
We're certainly going to have you linked, Wakelet it, what's the verb, onto our show notes page over at Ask the Tech Coach podcast, episode number 107. We would love to have you out there because, look, if you've got some of these great boards, I know my teachers would love to have access to some of these things. Now,
definitely.
When it comes to organizing, let's talk about the pages, right? We did last week a whole session on hyperdocs, on choice boards, on, things that have links and pretty pictures and stuff like that. What is your philosophy? And we don't have to go too deep into this, but, the concept of a website versus a hyperdoc type thing for organizing purposes.
For organizing? Well, for me, I think organizing would be better suited on a site, on a Google site, a SharePoint site, WordPress, what have you. And, being able to categorize that, have a page for these types of resources, this, and this. Whereas a hyperdoc, to me personally, is more of just a teaching tool, which maybe, in a training, I could use it as a teaching tool to teach them how to get there. But, I would more likely, as a tech coach, organize myself with a site of some sort and teach the teachers to do the same.
I like the idea of the sites. I can get the hyperdoc. I can get behind the idea of hyperdocs and stuff like that. I'm a website guy. I've been WordPressing for a long time. I've been Google citing for a long time. This summer I learned SharePoint. Pretty awesome stuff. Mm-hmm. It really all depends on how quickly you want, what you want. I think if you're doing something where you're curating a lot of content, you're building lessons, and stuff like that. I can see the need for putting a hyperdoc on a website. And I
Yes,
want to know what
agreed.
you guys think. This is a great topic. Let us know what you guys think out there.
Yes.
Find us online because, I like the hyperdocs. We've done shows on hyperdocs. Not for me. Right? Not for me. I'll be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm more of the website guy. I'd rather build it and make it look good and then tinker it and tweak it rather than. But that's okay too. I think, right?
I tend to agree on especially for the tech coaching side of things.
Yeah, I know I have a Google site. I call it my box of gimmicks, and it's there's a page for hyperdocs. It's got all of my links on it. There's a page for Breakout EDU, all of my links on it. And I did that because now I can share the whole website with people.
Right.
Maybe that's kind of like a Wakelet, right? Like the non-visual, right? It's a website that all of this stuff is on.
Right.
But we all have to kind of make up our own thing, and we all have to start somewhere and things like that. So I don't know. But, the whole idea is everything is there, right?
Yes.
Everything is in a spot where you're going to keep it organized and go through. OneNote, I'll say OneNote / Evernote. Do you have anywhere that you fall onto that spectrum?
Well, starting out when, digital note taking first got off the ground, I guess I was an Evernote girl. And then I kind of just evolved on into, as Google Keep evolved. I was never a OneNote person. Just to me, it just seemed cumbersome, and I'm more of a Google girl anyway. So Google Keep was just more down my alley, and it was colorful.
I like Evernote. I think I'm one of the only, if not one of two, like Evernote educational ambassador. This is like a long time ago. We got into all this stuff, right? Love me my Evernote. When I moved over the summer, Evernote was the digital filing cabinet. Like all of my kids' baby stuff. I mean, we live off of Evernote in this family. But OneNote's kind of fun. Right? It's that infinite whiteboard. It's that organizer. It's all of those different things, which kind of cool. And you can do a lot of stuff with it. And I don't think that's me being a Microsoft person or not a Microsoft person or an Evernote person. I think that's just, I like Evernote because it's in a line. Everything is right there. Whereas with OneNote, for me, sometimes it's too spread out. You can have things all over the place, and you can have multiple this and sometimes I just like to just type and write and let it go.
And these are all great points of just the way our different minds work and how we set up ourselves. And that's great for us as tech coaches to be familiar that these things are out there, because not all of our teachers, just like their students, are going to learn and see things in the same way. So it's important to, let them know there's this, but then there's this. This is how I do things, and this is why. And, not just because you're the tech coach and the tech guru. It's, this is why I do it. And then helping them to understand, here is this reason. And then there's these other tools out there that do similar things.
Well, you know what? We can sit here and debate and argue and correspond different apps to different things. And that's the easy stuff. But let's get down to this. How do you share this information with other teachers, right? Yes. If somebody comes to you and says, can you show me this? And this happens to me a lot. You share your app of choice, you share your philosophy, and they go, dude, that's too hard. No, right. Are you crazy? I don't have time for this. How do you let them know and convince them, really, no, this is going to save you time. Just follow and get off the ceiling. Help me here.
Well, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, you will eventually find your groove. And that's with anything new, in life in general. We do get overwhelmed by new things, and it takes practice. Yes, that sounds cliche coming out of my mouth, but it takes practice in doing it and just making yourself use it. I wasn't the hugest Wakelet fan at the very beginning. I'm like, okay, this is just another place. But as I got to using it and categorizing things and having those boards and found out how I can share and how I can find other people's, that's what kept turning me more and more in favor of that, as well as other things as we've moved through the years.
I think a lot of it is trying to show them that what they're doing isn't wrong.
Yes.
But this is an alternative that could save them, and I always go back to it saves them time.
Mm-hmm.
Something's got to change the behavior of crazy, right? Like it's insane to not be organizing in a certain way or organizing at all, right?
Right. And until, they learn, oh, this really does save me time, and, it's not making the job harder and they're working smarter, then they finally get the hang of it.
I'm going to end here with the one that we're currently working on, right? Sending somebody an email or a chat box in Microsoft Teams. One right now is going to save you some time. It's not going to bog your email down. You're not going to come back to your desk and see 35 more emails, right? How do you convince people to change their culture? How do you convince people to not only change the way that they organize themselves, but change the way that they communicate, they relate to others, they function as a member of the school, society, and community?
That's a $1 million question I've been working on for years. Mm-hmm. But, this is my 3rd year at my current school system. And ever since I've gotten there, we're Google, so Google Hangout, which has evolved into Google Chat. I've been trying to tell them, use Google Chat, use Google Hangout to send me a quick message instead of typing out a whole email. And, after almost 3 years, we're finally starting to use that more. It just takes modeling. So I continue to use it, and I will send them a message. And then finally they get to realizing, and then their friends down the hall finally get to realizing, oh, I don't have to type out a full email, and she'll get it quicker.
And you don't have to be as formal either.
Yes, exactly.
Hi, Sue. I hope all is well today.
And they can basically text me without me having to give out my phone number to everybody in the building. And then they realize, oh, I love that.
When we're looking at this, what is the best way to start this change? Is it the one-on-one meetings that we have with teachers? Is it the newsletter? Is it what is it about all of this stuff? How do we become efficient? Because right now, especially in this COVID environment, I'm looking at this saying, do I try to meet with everybody one-to-one? Do I put out a newsletter with a bunch of, subliminal hints? Do I just give up, right? Like there's plenty of days so far that I'm just like, all right, stop what you're doing and just let them breathe. It's the beginning of the year. Stop trying to impart your madness into all of this stuff. What's been working for you so that way you are a positive, wonderful, awesome tech coach and you're not, you're pushing your agenda, but you're not getting the pushback or, that kind of stuff.
Right. For me, what works well definitely is just the modeling. Using it myself in front of them, even back when we were talking about organizing our drive, using my own drive to show them how to do it. But just with anything, modeling and telling them, as they, you'll inevitably get ones that'll sit there in front of you in whatever situation. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. And then just subtly stick in, hey, why don't you try so-and-so and do it, with your awesome, super friendly voice and, convince them that you have a time saver for them. So again, developing that relationship and, nurturing that as you go along.
We want to hear what you guys have together as we are starting off our new season here, our new school year. There's a lot of great topics that we're going to be working on. Don't forget that we also have our weekly show over on the Beluga Network. You can go to live.beluga.org and check out our weekly show there. We're going to be helping out brand new tech coaches over there. We're going to be helping out all tech coaches over here. And of course, on Wednesday nights, we still have our Tech Coach Roundtable going strong each and every week. And we are here to help you guys out. There's a lot of great places you can reach out to us. You can find us on our website over at askthetechcoach.com. Find us on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach. We also have our great Facebook page. Sue, wherever there's tech coaches, there we are. And we have some great things happening over the next couple weeks. I am excited that you guys are here. Don't forget to subscribe to us on all of your favorite podcasting applications. Sue, where can we learn about the great things that you're doing?
You can find me most of the time on Twitter at SV314DWS, and that new website will be out there soon. It exists, techimaginations.net. We're just remodeling.
And of course, you can find me over here on TeacherCast.net each and every week, bringing out great professional development. And thank you guys so much for making TeacherCast your home for professional development. So on behalf of Sue and everybody here on TeacherCast, my name is Jeff Bradbury. Keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.
You've been listening to Ask the Tech Coach, hosted by Jeff Bradbury of the TeacherCast Educational Network. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach or online at www.askthetechcoach.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.